Hey there, folks. I want to welcome you guys to our lecture today, which happens to just be on Organelles 2. You guys briefly learned about some organelles last class, and today what we're looking to do is kind of expand upon that so you know what an entire cell looks like. Okay, so without further ado, what I've done here, if you guys want to pause the video and fill in, this is just a quick recap of some material that we've already covered. I don't want to waste time going over it, but please fill in your notes. Just pause the video and do that real quick. All right, so thank you guys so much for doing that. So what we're doing right now is we're picking up with number 5 on our organelles list, and this is known as the ribosomes. So ribosomes are small molecules that actually assemble proteins. So these guys are super important in our cell, right? And where they get the information to assemble these proteins from actually comes from the cell's DNA. If you remember, right, DNA has genes, and these genes can be encoded to make proteins. And that's the job of the ribosomes. And the thing that I want you guys to recall is that proteins, right, are very important. Okay, and this isn't just because they build muscle and make us big and strong, right? But it's because enzymes are proteins. All right, and if you guys remember, it's enzymes that allow us to complete all of the chemical reactions that we have going in our body. So that's super duper important. Something that I want you guys to know as far as where we can find them, ribosomes can either be found to be floating around the cell, and you can see that we have some over here on the right, some free floating ribosomes right there, okay? Or they can be bound to another organelle that we call the endoplasmic reticulum. And this is also known as just the ER, okay? And again, if you look at this photo here, you can see that we have some ribosomes that are floating around there, and we have some ribosomes here that are attached to what is known as the endoplasmic reticulum right there, okay? And we're going to go into the implications of what all that actually is on our next slide. But before we get there, I want you guys to know that the more proteins a cell produces, the more ribosomes it has. So if a cell produces lots and lots and lots of proteins, you're going to see a lot more dots on the inside of it, and those are ribosomes. If it doesn't actually produce many proteins, you're going to see very few of these dots. And whether it does or doesn't depends on the location in the body it is and what that cell has been differentiated to do. All right, so now we're moving on to number 6. This is the endoplasmic reticulum. All right, and there's 2 types of endoplasmic reticulum. There's the rough, and then there's the smooth. Okay, the rough endoplasmic reticulum is what we just talked about on the previous slide. Okay, it's studded with ribosomes. All right, and it produces proteins that are secreted from the cell. Okay, so floating ribosomes, put that in quotations there, okay? These guys produce proteins that stay in the cell. Okay, it's only those ribosomes that are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum that produce proteins that are indeed secreted from the cell. Okay, now the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is actually loaded with enzymes. Okay, this allows it to produce lipids and even detoxify drugs. Okay, the smooth ER its main job, produce lipids for cell membrane. Okay, so whereas the rough endoplasmic reticulum in combination with ribosomes is producing proteins that are to be secreted from the cell, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, its main job is to actually make the lipids which make the plasma membrane of the cell. Okay, and again, here's a photo of it that I think is really good. All right, and so the area, this is all the endoplasmic reticulum right there. Note that it surrounds the nucleus. Okay, that's a really big deal. All right, and you can see that there's area here which is smooth, and then the area here is rough. Okay, you can see the dots that are on it. All right, and once again, this is just the photo, and there's the rough endoplasmic reticulum there. Okay, so as we continue to move outside the nucleus, right, we've already covered the ribosomes, the ER, and now we're going to get to the Golgi apparatus. All right, so I want you guys to think of the Golgi apparatus as basically the mailroom of the cell. Okay? It's located outside of the endoplasmic reticulum. If you guys actually look at this photo here, the Golgi apparatus is right here. Okay? So we got our nucleus, we have our endoplasmic reticulum, and then we have the Golgi there. Okay? And what it does is that the proteins that are made by the rough endoplasmic reticulum are actually sent to the Golgi apparatus, where they're packaged into a vesicle. It's a small traveling structure, and they're tagged with the appropriate mailing address. And I want you guys to think of, this is where it's going in the body. Okay, it's not going outside. Just where in the body is this going? All right, and if you're wondering what a vesicle is, just think of it as a small traveling unit. Okay, that's all it is. Sometimes, right, so all these proteins are being sent from the rough endoplasmic reticulum to the Golgi apparatus, and depending on the location that these proteins are to go, the Golgi apparatus sometimes needs to modify them. Okay, so it will actually change different side groups and whatnot depending on where it needs to go in the body. Okay, I think this picture here is actually fantastic. Okay, right here. And what you see going on, right, is so we have our nucleus, and you guys will see that we have the rough endoplasmic reticulum here, okay? And if you guys pay attention where I just drew this arrow, what you're going to see, right, is that we have a ribosome right here, right? And what it's doing, sorry, not a ribosome there. What am I talking about? We have a ribosome right there, and in fact, what we have beneath it is a protein right there. Okay, and what you're going to see is that this protein, right, it goes inside a vesicle, and this vesicle gets sent to the Golgi apparatus. Right, in the Golgi apparatus, right, this is our protein still. It travels throughout this Golgi apparatus. It gets a mailing address. As to where it's supposed to go, right? And it can actually head right outside the cell to the destination that it's supposed to be. So I think that's a super cool picture because it shows everything we were just talking about, going from the rough ER right to the Golgi to outside the cell. Really awesome. If you guys understand that, I know you understand Golgi apparatus for sure. And then lastly, all right, the last organelles, our eighth and final that we're going to learn about, are the mitochondria slash chloroplasts. What I want you guys to take away from this is that both of these deal with energy. And this is why I put them on the same slide, because they are very similar in the fact that they both have energy components to them. All right, so mitochondria specifically, they're found in all eukaryotic cells, and this actually includes plants. So sometimes people forget that mitochondria are in plants because plants have chloroplasts, but mitochondria are actually there as well. And what's really interesting about mitochondria is that they have their own DNA. They're essentially aliens. So every cell in your body has your DNA, okay? And they come from proteins that are found within your DNA. Mitochondria actually have their own set of DNA. There's lots of theories. There's endosymbiosis theory, which we're going to talk about soon, and some other things as to where they came from, but they operate under their own rules, which is very, very interesting. What I want you to think of the mitochondria as is a power plant. And this is because they give us energy. Okay? What they're able to do is that they're able to release the energy that is stored in the food that we eat, okay? And they're able to break it down into energy. Right? Remember, chemical energy and other useful compounds. And what I want you guys to think about here is that this, of course, is an exergonic reaction because energy released, right? That's something you guys should automatically know right off the top. Right, so they're able to release the energy stored in food we eat into chemical energy and useful compounds. Now, on the other hand, we have chloroplasts, okay? And chloroplasts are mainly found in plants, although we do see them in some animals that are actually able to harvest energy from the sun. So don't think that it's just specifically plants that have chloroplasts. No. There are other organisms that are phototrophs and get energy from the sun. But something else that I want you to know that they share with the mitochondria is that they also have their own DNA as well. So they're essentially also aliens. Kind of crazy. As we thought of the mitochondria as a power plant, I want you to think of chloroplasts as solar panels. Okay, and this is because their green pigment is actually allowing them to capture energy from sunlight, and this is done so in a process known as photosynthesis, which in the coming months we're going to learn a lot more about. And so if you guys look down here at the cells, you can see that the mitochondria are on the very outside. Okay, and this is, by the way, this is in, that's terrible writing. This is an animal cell here, okay? You see the mitochondria on the very outside of the cell, and this here is a plant cell. And you can see that there are chloroplasts as well as some mitochondria there, okay? It has both. So that's it for our lecture capture today. I want you guys to fill out this vocab before you complete exit ticket, okay? I've noticed that people that have been filling this out have been doing the best. So congratulations, you guys have made it through all of our different organelles, and we are going to be doing a fun activity this week where you guys are actually going to be making your own sounds. So enjoy the rest of class, and please raise your hand if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.